Have you ever come across something so wild? It just sounds like, completely made up.
Like
Like,
what?
like, okay, a lake that turns animals to stone. That's got to be fake, right?
Okay, I see where you're going with this. You're talking about that Lake Natron in Tanzania.
Yeah, exactly. It's like something straight out of a fantasy novel or something.
I know, right? It really grabs your attention. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
This is going to be good.
Oh, it is. We've got some fascinating material here. Excerpts, descriptions, you name it, all about this really unique and honestly kind of terrifying location. But our mission today, to go beyond just the initial whoa factor and really dig into what's happening at Lake Natron, the real science behind it all.
That's what I love about these deep dives, getting past the hype.
Absolutely. So let's start with the basics.
All right, so paint me a picture. Where in the world is this Lake Natron?
Okay, imagine this. You're in northern Tanzania, right? Specifically the Ngorongoro district, right up against the border with Kenya.
Oh, wow. So, like, right in the heart of East Africa.
You got it. And it sits within this dramatic landscape, the Great Rift Valley. It's this geologically active region known for, well, things like volcanoes and, you guessed it, unusual lakes.
So this lake's got to have some serious character, being a place like that.
Oh, you have no idea. But, okay, back to the picture we're painting. Think wide open spaces, stark beauty, and this shimmering lake, often with this reddish tinge to it.
Wait, reddish? What's up with that?
We'll get to that. That's a whole other fascinating part of the story. But first, how about we figure out what's feeding this lake? You know, it can't just be rainwater, right?
You're telling me not in a place like that.
Exactly. So the primary water source is the Owasso-Nyiro River.
Okay, a river, that makes sense.
Sure, but here's where it gets interesting. There are also these mineral-rich hot springs bubbling up into the lake.
Ooh, hot springs. That sounds like a whole other mystery.
They are, and they're super important because they're basically the key to the lake's more, let's say, unique properties.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So these hot springs are directly connected to, drumroll please, Old Dunyo Lengai.
Say that again?
Old Dunyo Lengai. It's an active volcano nearby. And I love how our source describes it, the lake's mad scientist, which is kind of perfect.
A mad scientist volcano. That's a great image.
Right. So this volcano is constantly releasing all these minerals, and guess where they end up? Yep, you got it, Lake Natron.
Okay, now I'm starting to see how this all fits together.
It's all connected. But hold on, because now we need to talk about what's in this volcanic cocktail, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's giving Lake Natron its, well, let's just say its reputation.
Stone animals. Fill me in.
We're getting there. But first, the chemistry. The main ingredients are sodium and potassium carbonates.
Ah, chemistry, my favorite. But in all seriousness, break that down for me.
No problem.
Yeah.
So these carbonates are alkaline compounds, and when they dissolve in the hot spring water, they carry those minerals into the lake. Then, as that water evaporates under the African sun, these carbonates become super concentrated.
Super concentrated. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
You got it. This is where we get that extreme alkalinity everyone talks about. Our source even compares it to ammonia in terms of pH levels.
Ammonia, like the stuff I clean my bathroom with.
Yeah, pretty much. We're talking a pH range from 10 to 11, which is highly basic, the opposite of acidic. So, yeah, corrosive, definitely not something you want to mess with.
Yikes. So not only would I not want to swim in this lake, I wouldn't even want to touch it.
Smart move.
Oh.
But hey, it gets even more extreme. We're talking temperatures up to 60 degrees Celsius.
60 degrees Celsius, hold on, let me do the conversion. That's like 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's way hotter than a hot tub.
Right, like dangerously hot. Our source is very clear. This is not a place for a swim. It's that combination of intense heat and crazy high alkalinity that makes it so hostile to most life.
Okay, so we've got the super alkaline, super hot lake. Now for the main event, let's talk about those stone animals. What's the real story there?
All right, so this phenomenon really captured the world's attention back in 2013. It was all thanks to this wildlife photographer, Nick Brandt. He took these stunning photographs of these perfectly preserved animals along the shoreline.
I think I've seen some of those photos. They're eerie, but also beautiful in a way.
Exactly. And the descriptions, they use terms like frozen mid-flight, and that really captures the feeling, you know.
I do. It sounds straight out of a myth. But I'm guessing it's really just chemistry at work, right?
You're right on the money. So the theory, and our source backs this up, is that these animals, they might be disoriented by the reflective surface of the lake. Or maybe they're just desperate for water. Either way, they end up falling in.
Oh, no. And then the lake water does its thing.
Exactly. And it's all thanks to those high concentrations of sodium and potassium carbonates we talked about earlier. They act like a powerful natural preservative.
So are they really turning into stone?
Not exactly, but it's kind of like natural mummification. As the water evaporates from the animal's body, the minerals get even more concentrated and then solidify, basically creating this mineral crust over the remains.
Ah, so it's not like they're instantly petrified, more like slowly encased in minerals. That makes more sense.
Huh.
Our source even uses the phrase natural mummification vibes, which is perfect.
Yeah, that sums it up well. And it's not just the minerals. That extreme alkalinity probably helps too. It inhibits the bacteria that would normally cause decay. So instead of decomposing, they get preserved.
Wow, so it's this combination of factors that creates these, well, these stone-like statues.
Precisely. And it's that unique combination that makes Lake Natron such a fascinating subject.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, there's another twist.
another twist. Okay, lay it on me.
So we've talked about how deadly this lake is, right?
It's been well established.
Mhm.
Deadly, hot, alkaline, not my idea of a vacation spot.
Right. But here's the thing. Lake Natron is actually a major breeding ground for lesser flamingos. Millions of them, according to our source.
Wait, hold on. Millions of flamingos in this death trap. How is that even possible?
Right. It's incredible. It's a perfect example of how life adapts, even to the most extreme conditions. These flamingos, they've evolved some amazing defenses.
Like what?
Well, for starters, they have this really tough skin and these thick, scaly legs. It's like built-in armor protecting them from the corrosive water when they wade in.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about when they drink the water? They got to be swallowing some of those harsh chemicals, right?
They do, but they've got that covered too. They have these special nasal glands that are amazingly efficient at filtering out all that excess salt and minerals. It's this super sophisticated system for keeping their bodies in balance, even in this crazy environment. It's called osmoregulation, if you want to get technical.
Osmoregulation, I'll add that to my vocabulary. But what about that red color we were talking about earlier? Does that have anything to do with the flamingos too?
It totally does. So that reddish hue comes from these salt-loving microorganisms, including this type of algae called cyanobacteria. They thrive in that high salinity and alkalinity and contain pigments that give the water its color.
So the red's not from the minerals?
Nope, it's from algae.
Oh.
And guess what? These algae are the main food source for the flamingos. It's like a perfect self-contained ecosystem, even in this extreme environment.
Wow, so the same stuff that makes the lake look so otherworldly is also feeding the flamingos. Nature's pretty amazing.
It really is. But let's be real, this egg is amazing, but it's also incredibly dangerous, especially for us humans. We don't have those cool adaptations the flamingos do.
That's what I was thinking. So spell it out for me. What kind of risks does Lake Natron pose to us?
Well, our source doesn't sugarcoat it. Direct contact with that water. Big no-no. We're talking severe skin irritation, stinging eyes, all thanks to that high pH and temperature.
Yikes. So no swimming, no touching. Got it.
Definitely not. And remember what we talked about with the animals, that mineral incrustation. Theoretically, prolonged exposure could do the same to a human, though it would obviously be much slower. Still, not exactly a pleasant thought, right?
You're telling me. Turning into a statue? No thanks. And speaking of danger, our source mentions a real-life incident that really drives home just how dangerous this lake can be. It wasn't even someone swimming. Tell us about it.
Okay, so picture this. It's 2007. A helicopter carrying a film crew, wildlife documentary makers, actually crashes into Lake Natron.
A helicopter crash? That's terrifying.
It was. Thankfully, no one was killed, but there were some serious injuries. The pilot had a broken leg and one of the passengers had a cracked hip.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
It really highlights how unforgiving this environment can be. Even from the air, it's dangerous. Our source calls it a wake-up call, and I think they're right. It's a powerful reminder that we need to respect the power of nature, especially in a place like this. It's not just a pretty pink lake,
It's a force to be reckoned with. I'm definitely getting that message. So let's wrap things up. Our deep dive into Lake Natron has been, well, mind-blowing. We've learned about this incredible place in Tanzania where a volcano feeds these high concentrations of minerals into a lake, creating this crazy alkaline, hot environment.
And that leads to this fascinating and, yeah, a bit creepy preservation of animals. But then there's this incredible twist with the flamingos, these millions of birds who've adapted to thrive in this seemingly impossible place.
It really is this weird mix of beauty and danger,
Right.
And the story about the helicopter crash just shows how we can't take that danger lightly. It's a good reminder for all of us.
Absolutely. It makes you wonder, If a place as extreme as Lake Natron can support life and hold these bizarre secrets, what other seemingly impossible environments on our planets might be hiding equally amazing things?
That's what I love about these deep dives. It makes you realize just how much we still don't know about our own world.
Hmm.
There's so much out there to explore and discover.
Absolutely. It really opens up a whole universe of possibilities. It makes you wonder, what other extreme environments are out there just waiting to be understood?
And what amazing adaptations might life have come up with to survive in those places? I guess that's something to ponder.
Exactly. And who knows what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up our deep dive into Lake Natron. Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring.
And stay curious.